This next song we're going to do is a song that kind of tells some of the history of Jana's family. Well, we live in the US. I was originally born here myself. I grew up in Victoria, country Victoria, and wandered over to the US after I'd finished high school and thought I'd spend a few years getting to know what was so great about America and working over there, and then met my wife and realized it was pretty great over there. And she kept me around, and so we've raised our kids over there. Our son was born here, so he's a dually. He's got both citizenships. But the region Jana grew up in and where we've spent a lot of our time is the Midwest, around the Great Lakes. If any of you guys traveled over there or been in the Midwest? Yeah, so the Great Lakes, Lake Michigan is the biggest of them. We used to live in Wisconsin, in Green Bay, which is right on there, and it's huge. And so they have ships, 1,000-foot ships sailing up and down that lake, and it's kind of odd being an Aussie growing up there because you can go to the beach and they've got big sand dunes and it's fresh water. It just throws all what your senses want to think is going to be salt water and whatnot, and they'll have waves, and there's even a surf club in this little town called Sheboygan.
No sharks.
Their best surfing is actually in the middle of winter when there's ice and snow everywhere. They put the wetsuits on, but that's when they actually get the best weather to create the biggest waves. And they're kind of nutty over there, but they're fanatical about it. But Jana grew up, she was born on Lake Michigan and spent her life growing up there, and her family history dates back. And this song ties into that. She'll tell you a little more of the elaborate details of the nitty-gritty of that part of her history.
Yeah, so my family came over from the British Isles, and specifically Ireland and the Netherlands. And when they settled, they found themselves on hard times, and so as you do, you pick yourself up by the bootstraps and find a job. And the jobs that they found happened to be in bootlegging and gun running and prostitution. So as I was growing up, I heard all of these different stories about my family's heritage and sort of these elaborate stories with Al Capone. And I remember at my papa's funeral, there was a gun check. So it's just a fascinating, way to grow up. And at the same time, there was sort of this dualistic thing going on, because there were those stories, but then my papa was in prison and found himself in a position where he had sort of a revival of his heart, and left that prison as a revivalist. So he would go around in the big tents, and he would preach and share his story and his family's story and this redemption that he found. And so I grew up sort of with this, Johnny Cash figure of a papa. And I love those stories. It's a rich heritage to me. And so I thought, well, I've never really written a song about my family, so I think I'm going to start at the beginning. And even though it's, more the shady side of it all, I reckon if you don't start at the beginning and remember your roots, you might end up back there. So this is the Great Lake Plains, and it does have a little bit of a rhythm to it, so it's just so you can make sure you hear us still. Maybe you could do a little snap for me during the song, right? All right, there we go.